Successful is all about self-definition, which is what I was saying at the beginning. You have to decide who you want to be. And if you wanted to be Joe Schmo and you pull it off, then you'll be a pretty happy, content person. There's a study I read about stress. And it was saying that stress has a placebo effect attached to it because the placebo effect is extremely powerful. So they found some of the most stressed people in the world and they split them into two groups. And they're all equally stressed. They all have a bunch of cortisol in their blood.
Yeah.
The people who believed that stress was bad for you and that stress can hurt you, and they believed those media articles, were dying earlier. They were having heart attacks and having stress-related illnesses. The people who believed the opposite, who just said, stress is part of being successful. I like stress. When I feel stressed, I do my best. It makes me anxious. It turns my brain. I like being stressed. Lived longer than average.
Yeah.
The point is, the same drug, how you look at it and how your body anticipates it, how you feel about it, affects the real world results. Which goes back into what you were saying earlier about jealousy. You're saying people look on social media and they get jealous and it demotivates them. That's because they decide to be demotivated by it. Do you know what happens when I get jealous of somebody? I beat them.
Yeah.
If I look at somebody who has something I ain't got, I will take it from them by hook or by crook. The whole idea of happiness, I think, has been misconstrued to the populace, especially to men. And this is why so many people label themselves as unhappy, because they're trying to find that giddish, childish happiness they had when they were a child for basically no reason. And I don't think it works that way. I think as a man, the only way you're going to be happy is if you do shit you don't want to do. You have to make yourself happy by looking at a mountain and going, sake. And then getting to the top and going, thank God that's done. Mm-hmm. There's no other way to do it. You're not just going to be happy by default. You have to go through pain. And if you're not prepared to go through pain, you're not going to be happy. And it's also the way you label yourself. Like, I truly am, like I said, I don't believe in things that take power away from me. And people wake up and go, oh, I'm not happy today or otherwise. I believe happy can be quite binary. Instead of looking at it as a scale, I think unless you're distraught, unless you're genuinely about to cry your eyes out because of loss of a family member or something, unless you're distraught, which hopefully doesn't happen very often, then you're happy. You may be slightly less happy than the other day, but you're still happy overall. Like, as long as nothing bad has happened, you have to wake up and go, okay, I'm alive. My people around me are alive. It's a happy day. It's a mindset. It's a happy day. Okay, I got stuck in traffic, whatever, but it's a mindset. But you're completely right about going through difficult things. And obviously as a fighter, you know that very well. And even now, people say to me, Andrew, why don't you just take your money and just retire and just chill? I'm like, I'll be miserable. I need to be, maybe I'm not fighting in the cage. Now I'm fighting the Matrix and all the social media companies. I can't stop. I need something to go against. It's just like some men are born that way. Otherwise, why did Genghis Khan keep conquering? You need a purpose, and a purpose is not always going to be, sunshines and rainbows. And there has to be a degree of difficulty to it. And there has to be a degree of pain involved. And there has to be a degree of risk, because risk and reward are linked. Fighting's the ultimate risk reward. There's risk and reward are linked. If you want a huge reward with no risk, well then what are you gonna do? You're gonna end up playing video games, wasting your life.
There is no such thing as a successful person. When I hear people say, oh, it's hard, or I don't have time, etc., all you're doing is telling me you're a loser. Every single winner feels the same as you do. The difference is they do not quit. They do not give up. They do not make excuses. They stay on the highway. It's amazing what you can achieve if you never give up. I don't care about excuses. God doesn't care about excuses. And the winners who went through the exact same things you're going through, who didn't quit, don't care about excuses. There are winners and losers in the world. You are either a winner who dedicates himself, never gives up, continues to learn, does everything he knows he needs to do regardless of how he feels, or you're a loser who makes excuses and you stay invisible for the rest of human time. Make a choice.
What's the point in having an easy life? Why would I want an easy life? If someone were to say to me, do you want an easy life? I'd say, that sounds boring. I mean, did Genghis Khan want an easy life? Did Alexander the Great want an easy life? Did any of the men you can remember from history, any of the ones that actually matter, ever want an easy life? If I meet a man and he says, I want an easy life, I just want a stress-free life, I look at him and think, you're born to lose. You're born to lose, sir. You can have your stress-free life, and you can serve me my latte, and you go, fuck off. Because you're not made to, life is war. And it's going to be stressful. And
life isn't always war.
Of course it is. Life is war. Every single aspect of life is war. Not losing your temper in traffic on your way to a podcast is war. Trying to get a girl that the other guy wants is war. Trying to buy a Ferrari that everybody else can't afford is war. Training is war. Fighting is war. Life is war. I see war everywhere. When I see a big, beautiful oak tree, I don't see a big, beautiful oak tree. I see a tree that destroyed all the saplings around it and crushed them mercilessly. It's war. Life is war. So that's how I view it. I guess the only disadvantage of being so hard on myself, because I don't see any disadvantages, because I have zero self-sympathy. I blame myself for absolutely everything. Even this Matrix attack, I want to make it very clear. I'm not looking for sympathy on any level. I'm not an idiot. I ran my mouth on the internet for a very long time. I pissed off very important, powerful people. And they put me in a jail cell. I sat there in jail like, well, I'm here for the wrong reasons, but all in all, fair enough.
The universe is giving me I gave it.
You know, you run your mouth and you piss people off. They're going to try and teach you a lesson. That's how the world works. Like, I'm not going to sit there and feel sorry for myself. I guess the only disadvantage of being so hard on myself is that I'm extremely hard on others. And some people find me difficult to deal with for that reason. They'll be like, oh, I'm struggling with this. I'm like, I do not give. It has to be done at this time. Oh yeah, but. I don't care. You will lose your job if it's not done at this time. That's the bottom line. And I guess I can be ruthless, but why would I have sympathy for somebody else I don't have for myself? If I'm going to be so strict on myself, why would I allow sympathy for others? If I know I'm going to do it, I'm going to hold them to my standard. So I guess to a degree I can come across as unempathetic to others, I guess. But at least I'm not a hypocrite, you know? Yeah. And I also like to believe that because I lead from the front, I'm not a armchair general. I'm suffering myself. So if I'm going to suffer and I'm going to perform and I'm going to get everything I need to do done, then I expect absolutely the same from everybody around me or they're not going to be around me anymore. So am I hard on myself? Yes. Will that change? No. Life is war. Life is hard. You're supposed to be hard on yourself. Perhaps most men would benefit from being a lot harder on themselves. I think I see a lot of men coming up with a lot of excuses for permanent failure. I see it all the time. Why? I can't pay my bills. Okay, cool. Why? Oh, you know, because it's hard. It's all just sympathy bull. I don't want to hear it. It's garbage. It's hard. It's hard for everybody, and you're gonna have to just be harder on yourself and pull it off.
I think we're here to struggle and to learn. I don't think we're here to be happy. That's why when we keep going back to the happy argument, I've always found that kind of frustrating and annoying. Yeah. When someone goes, "Oh, but I want to be happy." Why? Why? Why do you want to sit there and laugh like you were happy your entire childhood? That's your happy days. You're allowed to be happy as a kid. It's all over now, right? You're a man. You have responsibilities. I think we're here to do important. Provide, protect, and we're also here to do important things. And important things are going to be difficult, and they're going to be hard, and you're going to get frustrated. But that's what gives you purpose. Yeah. I don't see anyone who's chasing happiness. I think that's a very feminine frame. I understand why some women just want to be happy. I don't know how it feels to be a girl because I'm not one. But in my experience, I know women who just want to be happy. Yeah. Girls just want to have fun. Yeah. Fine. But you're a man, right? And if you're a man, then it's absolutely an utterly different experience of life. I think we're here to struggle. I think we're here to endure pain. Yeah. I think we're here to just see how hard we are to kill. I think that going through terrible things and living through them and coming out the other side is one of the most fantastic things about being human. I think that it's almost like once you understand what life is really about, there's no emotion which isn't enjoyable. The only emotional state which can be seen as detrimental is feeling nothing at all. But if you're sitting at home and you're feeling truly heartbroken, at least you're feeling something, right? At least, and I think that's the whole part of being human. I think we're here to struggle. I think we're here to go through pain. That's so I wake up each day and go, what can I attack? What problem can I solve? And look at history. Why did Genghis Khan wake up and want to conquer the whole world? Why did Napoleon conquer the world? Why did Alexander the Great conquer the world? You just wake up and just say, give me this, give me that. I want all of it. I need to, there's an army there. They're really big. We're better. It's intrinsic. Yeah. You need to go and conquer. That's the purpose of life. Well, also there's no light without dark and there's no joy without pain. You can't have a rainbow without a little rain. Exactly. And no matter how hard you chase pleasure and happiness, there's going to be dips and troughs in between. There's going to be come downs and downtrends. And you're going to have the juxtaposition between that time you were laughing your head off and acting giddish like a child and the time that you feel depressed as such. And I think it's much better to just adopt a very disciplined, stoic mindset. I'm always the same base level of happy regardless. If I lost all of my money today, I would be the same happy. Mm-hmm. If my net worth quadrupled, I'd be the same happiness. Yeah. As long as I am alive, which is a struggle, unfortunately, in the current climate. But as long as I'm alive and the people I care about and love are alive, and as long as God gives me the honor of doing my duties and providing for the people I care about, as long as I get to wake up and know that there's a whole bunch of people in the world who need me and I get to work hard to please them and do good for society and good for the world, then I'm a vessel of God, and I'm happy enough to survive. That's all I look at it as. I don't ever consider how do I feel. That doesn't cross my mind. I have things to do. I have things to do.
You're too busy to think about that.
I'm too busy. I have things to do every single day. I have very important things to do, and how I feel really is not going to affect how I complete those tasks.
Right.
And when I speak to men, they say I'm unhappy or I need to be happier. I think that's absolutely the wrong frame of life. You're a man, you have duty, you have honor, you have things you should be doing regardless of how you feel. And the people who are perma-obsessed with happiness or sadness, I just think it's the wrong paradigm to view the lens of life. I think you should get up and do what needs to be done. You're distracted and you're self-obsessed. When you're sad, you're sitting at home, me. It makes you very selfish. You don't care about your community when you're sad. You don't care about your country when you're sad. You don't care about the injustices of the world when you're sad. You don't care about trying to actually go and make the world a better place because you're too busy thinking about yourself. So they want you miserable, semi-depressed, sad, unhappy, so that you can sit at home and accept them doing whatever they want to the planet and other people without ever talking or standing up or doing the right thing. If you're happy and motivated, you're going to be far more likely to fight against injustices. So the fact that I have mass influence and I can just make people feel better is a threat to them. They don't want me to make people feel better. They talk about men's mental health and pretend to care, but when I come along and genuinely help and stop people from committing suicide, they delete me. They don't want that. They want everybody semi-depressed. They want you miserable. They want you distracted so that you're too busy crying your eyes out in a room somewhere or sitting in deep thought, worrying about this girl who left you so they can just continue to run the world. If I'm unhappy with something and I'm uncomfortable with something, I fix it. That's endless motivation, which I don't truly believe in as a concept, but that's endless fuel for the fire. If I was unhappy with something about myself, regardless of what it was, I would be able to take all of that discomfort and turn it into endless energy to get the problem fixed. But these people seem to
be unhappy.
Well, these people seem to sit and say, I'm really unhappy with X, but then stay doing X. So I don't believe they're truly actually unhappy. What you'll notice if you live life long enough is that somebody will sit and say to you, I'm unhappy being a loser. You say, why are you a loser? I just sit at home and play video games 7 days a week. And you're like, okay. And maybe 3 days of the week, they're unhappy doing that. And that's the time they email you, and that's the time they want to make a change. But 4 days of the week, they don't really, it doesn't really bother them. It doesn't really bother them. Because if it bothered them 7 days a week, guess what?
They would fix it.
Correct. So I have very little sympathy for people. And that's not because I'm not a nice person, but it's because I've been so hard on myself and I've been through so many things that were difficult, and I've been through so much pain and trauma myself, some of it self-inflicted, some of it given to me by God to make me a better person. But I've been so difficult on myself. It's very hard for me to look at somebody who's refused to be difficult on themselves and see them as my equal or feel sympathy or pity for them. Why would I feel pity for somebody who took the easy route when I took the hardest possible route? I took the hardest possible way to be the man I am, and you were too big of a, and now you want me to feel sorry for you? I don't feel sorry for you. I don't feel sorry for these people. And because as a man, you can be anything you decide you want to be. That's the beauty of being a male. You can build your character completely from the ground up, just like a video game. Every single thing about me that people respect, I built. I was not born a world champion kickboxer. I was not born this intelligent or intellectual. I was not born this rich. I was not born this strong. I was not born this confident. I was not born this interesting. I was not born this charismatic and humble and gorgeous and tall and strong and sexy. I was not born none of these things. I became these things myself. So I deserve all the spoils of war. And anybody who decides they don't want to work hard enough to become those things, then they deserve to sit and accept they're my inferior. That's their problem. And this is what we're talking about, the being uncomfortable and how it can motivate you. When I didn't have enough money to buy whatever I wanted, I couldn't fall asleep at night because I understood there are people out there that did, and I didn't see them as better than me. And I thought, why are these people who I don't see as my superior living an experience that I can't live? And it bothered me to the point where I could not sleep. So yeah, that was real. When you talk about suffering mentally, I don't really consider that suffering. I have had a very painful life. I still think to a degree I do, but that's self-inflicted. But I can't imagine living any other way. I can't imagine living in this idea, this utopian, every day, just, girls, drink, hedonism. I don't. Yeah, it's degenerate. I think the only thing you can do that's not degenerate is usually be fighting a battle or solving a problem.
Growth.
Yeah, growth. Yeah, so you need to either fight a battle or solve a problem to avoid degeneracy, which means I'm constantly looking for them. I'm currently one of the largest battles a man can possibly take on. I'm taking on the Matrix, the most powerful people on the planet.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, is my life difficult? Yeah. Am I complaining about that? No. In fact, I'd hate it for it to be any other way.
I'm not saying feeling depressed is not real. Everyone feels depressed. I'm saying the idea of depression as something you cannot control is a dangerous idea and paradigm. The reason so many people are committing suicide is because the Matrix is telling you that if you feel depressed, you cannot fix it. They tell you that depression is a disease that you can catch from the sky no matter how fantastic your life is, and you have no control over it. And I argue that absolutely. The reason the Matrix wants you depressed and sad is because when that happens, you are selfish. If you're depressed and sad, you only care about yourself. You don't care about your community or your family. You don't care about the world. You do not stand up for anything. You will accept being fucked like True Geordie. You'll accept any amount of garbage that they want to give you, any Matrix slave mind programming, because you're too busy being sad to resist. This is why they tell you that when you are depressed, it is a disease. It is not a disease. You're depressed because your reality is depressing. The truth is, if I lived the reality that most of these depressed people live, I'd be depressed. Your reality is depressing. You wake up, your wife doesn't love you, your kids don't respect you, there's no milk in the fridge, and you're almost dead. Of course, you're depressed. You're running out of time. You never had any fun or adventure. Energy cannot be destroyed, it can only be converted. Take the depression and turn it into motivation. And all of a sudden, you'll see how fantastic your life is.
People the solution to something, and they don't like the solution, then they'll pretend you're wrong, right? I'm depressed, that's why I'm fat. No, you're not fat because you're depressed. You're depressed because you're fat. So how about this? Go to the gym and train. Oh, that's hard. Well, then stay depressed. Like, what do you want? What answer do you want? No, I want a way to be as fat and unhealthy as possible while also having a perfectly capable mind and feeling fantastic. Well, then you get down the route of just drugging yourself, right? The mind is a very sophisticated chemical factory and your body produces chemicals. What's the complication? Like, why is it hard to work out that if your body is efficient and doing what it's supposed to do and strong and is optimal, then your mind is probably going to follow? What's there complicated to understand that habits, which are beneficial to you, are going to allow you to build a more disciplined, to be a more motivated individual, and also change your objective reality? People also want to disconnect not only mental health from physical health, but they also try and disconnect mental health from objective reality. I have all the time. They go, oh, he's depressed. It's not his fault. I say, listen, he's a loser and his life is shit. If I was him, I'd be depressed. So let's not pretend that his mental health is completely separate to the objective reality of the fact that he is a lonely dork. Of course he's depressed. Who wouldn't be? If he got up and tried his best and was disciplined and was motivated and he was important and actually became somebody, guess what? He'd start to feel better. So you're completely right. They have separated from physical health. They separated from spiritual health, because also if you know you're doing bad things inside of your heart, you're going to feel guilt, which is why all the people who absorb the Matrix programming end up being so unhappy. But also the biggest disconnect for me is mental health and physical reality. I've said to depressed people before, I'm depressed, I have a disease. Okay, you have a disease. Describe your life. They describe their life and say, you don't have a disease, you have a good life. That's it. You have a shit life. So you don't got a disease, you just fix your life, you'll feel better. No, it's not that simple. It is that simple, my friend, because I'll tell you something, I'm the happiest man on the planet, but if I was you, I'd be depressed. So that's it. That's it. You're a fucking loser. The loser. But I say this stuff, and the reason I say it so brutally is because I don't believe the people who are losers didn't decide to be losers. If you're a loser, you chose to be. For the same reason, if you're fat, you chose to be fat. I don't fucking buy any bullshit that someone is force feeding you. You decided to be. I think the universe is a very giving place. I think that God is very giving. I think that in reality, objective reality, if you truly try your best, you'll get it. I've yet to meet somebody, maybe you can correct me, who eats right, goes to the gym every day, and trains as hard as they could, who is not in fantastic shape. I've never seen it. It's like, so the only people who aren't in fantastic shape are the people who decided not to do those things. So they decided. So I don't feel sorry for them. I'm done having pity with people. I'm done fucking sitting there going, oh, doop-de-doo. No, you decided to be a fucking loser. So your life's shit. So you're depressed. Good. That's what you decided to pull from the universe. I decided to pull the absolute opposite. Mm-hmm.